So what did Neocaridina eat? Well, in the wilds of East Asia, which is where they're from, they thrive in shallow mountain streams, and they're constantly scavenging. These omnivores eat everything from algae to biofilm to decaying plant matter to small organic debris. Let's break it down. So the next question is, what is biofilm? Well, biofilm is a slimy layer of bacteria, fungi, and microorganisms that grows on surfaces. It's absolutely essential for shrimp health because it's packed full of nutrients and it's the primary food source for juvenile shrimp, also known as shrimplets. So here's a tank tip. You can increase the amount of biofilm in your tank for your shrimp to eat by adding things like driftwood, moss, or leaf litter. In addition, you can buy products like Bacter AE, which provide freeze-dried biofilm, which are not only an immediate source of biofilm for your shrimp, but they can also help to populate your tank with more biofilm. So what is algae? Algae are simple plant-like organisms that get their energy through photosynthesis or converting light into energy. They grow on all sorts of things like glass, rocks, other plants, and although they're not as nutrient rich as a food source like biofilm, they're still very important to adult shrimp's diets. So here's another tank tip. You can encourage algae growth by increasing the amount of light that you have on your tank. Because algae depends on light for their energy source, the more you have of it, the more you're likely to grow. But be careful. Too much algae can impact the water quality of your tank. And if you're short on algae when you first are getting your shrimp going, you can always add algae wafers to help boost that food source while your tank algae population is getting bigger. Decaying plant matter. This includes leaves and parts of plants that break down over time. As they break down, they provide protein, carbohydrates, and fiber for shrimp. In addition, they provide an additional place for biofilm to grow, which of course is an additional food source for the shrimp. So here's a tank tip for increasing decaying plant matter. You can either add something like leaves, or you can have a planted tank in which you allow just natural shedding and dying off, and you don't clean that out. You let it fall to the bottom to become your decaying plant matter. But keep in mind, if you get too much of it, it can impact your water quality, so keep an eye out. Small organic debris. This can include small pieces of food, very tiny pieces of living plant tissue, and even microscopic detritus. All of these settle along the bottom and can become food for your shrimp. In addition, they can be food for microorganisms, and these microorganisms can also be eaten by your shrimp. Here's a tank tip. If you want to increase the amount of small organic debris that you have in your tank, you don't necessarily want a super clean tank. It's okay to allow some of the food that you feed to stay on the tank bottom for a little while and break down, and it's even all right if a little bit of detritus gets left behind. Of course, always check your water quality. Too much of anything is never a good thing. Thanks so much for joining me. For more tips on how to grow life where you live, like and subscribe.